Hello. So we are now live on Facebook, and today I have the fabulous Rachel Maunder, who is here to talk to me and to you about her 50 lessons from lockdown. And specifically, we're going to focus on 5 that we felt would be of most benefit and value to hear about to all of you in the group. So I will hand over to Rachel, let her introduce herself, let you know about how did the 50 lessons from lockdown come about, and then we will go into the 5 that Rachel's picked and take them one by one, and I promise you it's going to be absolutely fascinating. Okay, over to you, Rachel.
Thank you, Tanya. Yeah, well, the history of the 50 lessons were that I'm part of a business coaching program right now with a lovely lady, Julie Creffield, and the program is all about building a tribe. So she's very keen on having us very active online and Facebook. And one of the suggestions that she came up with was that we start a campaign of some description where we use the same hashtag for every post that we did, encourage people to use the hashtag when they comment and so on. And I'd identified that the way I like to work is encouraging people to take one small action at a time and to keep taking small steps forward. So the hashtag I identified was "what one small thing." However, I kind of dropped that idea because I was busy doing other things. So I decided what my campaign was going to be, but I wasn't quite sure how it was all going to work. Then, of course, we're plunged into lockdown, and many business owners were very quick off the mark, offering free webinars, free this, free that, offering to do stuff. And I thought, what can I do during this time to just offer things that come easily to me, don't always come easily to other people? And as you know, Tanya, I think you already received these. I send out anyway every morning just a weekly bite-sized tip, which is just about inviting people to just think slightly differently about things.
And they're very thought-provoking. They're really good. And so I recommend, I'll put a link, Rachel, if you give me a link afterwards, I'll put a link to your mailing list, sign up for your mailing list afterwards, because they are incredibly insightful. Yes.
Thank you. And so it kind of got me thinking, actually, why don't I? One thing I could do then is to build on that and to put posts across my social media platforms. And then I thought, actually, well, I can link it in to this campaign, what one small thing. So I, like everybody else, I had no idea lockdown was going to go on for as long as it did or has done. I will post every working day because I'm very conscious of my boundaries and not wanting to commit to doing this at weekends. And of course, we've actually had quite a lot of bank holidays during lockdown as well. And so I started posting, so day 1, day 2, and so on. And I had a different topic each day, inviting people to think about what one small thing they could do towards feeling more upbeat, improving the situation for themselves, doing something for somebody else, just seeing things in a different way and maybe taking one small action. So that was kind of the history of them. My initial intention was that I would do this for about a month, so maybe 30 days worth of writing, which would be a month and a half. And initially, so they were on my LinkedIn profile, they were on my Facebook, and they were on my Facebook timeline, and they also went on to my Instagram account. And initially I was getting a lot of feedback, a lot of comments, people really engaging. And
I think I did as well. Yeah,
I think you did. Yes. Yeah, there were several people like you who were regular commenters, and people saying these are lovely, I really enjoy reading them. And then what happened as I was approaching day 30, thinking, okay, I'm going to stop these at day 30, was that I had an email from an Athena colleague, never liked or commented any of them, but as a by the way, at her email, she put, by the way, I really love your posts. I know I never comment or share or whatever because I'm always so busy, but they really make a difference to me. Oh, okay, maybe I better carry them on for a bit longer then. So I thought, okay, I'll go to 40. And then as I was approaching 40, exactly the same thing happened. somebody that I see quite regularly walking her dog, and I'm walking mine. She said exactly the same thing. She said, well, I meant to say to you, Rachel, I love those posts. I know I never comment, share, but I really love them.
Well, you'd say lots of people don't. There's a certain type of person who will comment and share, generally lots. That's just their personality. But there's some people who will absolutely love things. And it's like in this group a lot, I don't often get a lot of interaction within the group, and I'm not going to push people, but I get a lot of offline. That's really useful. That's really helpful. So yeah, that's why I carry on. So yeah. So I'm not at all surprised to hear this.
Okay, so kind of that made me think, okay, I'm going to go to 50. And that's what, of course, day 50 was the 1st of June, by which time we were starting to come out of lockdown. And it was, in truth, it was becoming more and more challenging to think of a different topic. I did have the topic up to day 60, but it was somewhere between day 40 and 50 that the idea of the book was hatched. I think what had happened, that somebody in the coaching group had said, oh, why don't you take 10 of your posts and put them as an ebook? And then I thought, well, why don't I take all 50 and put them in a hard copy book? And while I'm doing it, why don't I make it a fundraiser for the COVID-19 people? So that's kind of how it all happened. And I thought, okay, I am going to stop at day 50 because life is different for us now. And obviously we're about to move into yet another chapter of lockdown. And 50 seemed a nice round number to go
50 is a good number. It is.
Yeah. And it just I felt I would be cheating people that buy the book if there were then another 10 that they didn't get in the book. So that's kind of how it happened. I have a very good contact that I've known for 10 years. I don't see her, but she's now a book publisher. Got in touch with her, shared the idea with her. Sarah Holdcroft from Gold Press Books. She's an Athena member also.
Okay.
And she, because of the non-profit aspect to it, she has kept her costs to the absolute minimum, because she has costs in doing what she needs to do.
Of course.
And the same for the printer, who is a contact of her. They've kept their prices at absolute minimum in order to maximise the profit. So I've heard from Sarah today that they are at the printers.
Oh, brilliant. Excellent. Yes. So they're almost here. So what I'll do quickly, I'm quickly just share the screen. So we can just show a copy of. So again, this is the cover, and as you say, they're at the printers now. People have been. Are they able to still pre-order?
Yes, until I actually get the books up on my website, where people will be able to order them through the website. They are available for pre-order. The slight benefit of pre-ordering is that you don't have to pay postage and packing. So that's just a bonus I'm offering. It's not a massive amount anyway, but I just thought I'd give a little bonus. Of course, you can, if you know me. A few people have said, I'd like a signed copy, please. So, which I won't be able to do when they're ordering through the website. So, you know, it's everybody wants, and I completely get that. But so people can pre-order. They just need to get in touch. And I will then, send them my payment details and so on.
Oh, fantastic. And you say all the profit goes to charities, going to the NHS?
Yes, no, not to the NHS, to the COVID-19 appeal.
To the COVID-19 appeal.
I think splitting it, but I thought actually I'll just keep it simple. And
no, fair enough.
Give it to one charity. So there's 200 books being printed, so profit from the sale of all of those. So,
and how many have you had pre-ordered so far?
45 so far. So.
Wow, so that's good. So you have to, so people get in there, because there's only 155 left.
True.
Yes. Oh, fantastic. So that's the book. So moving on, we've decided to pick, because we're not going to have time, we'd be here until after lunch if we were going to go through all 50. So you picked 5 that you felt were most relevant to the group. So the first one is routine. So if you want to talk through that sort of lesson, if you want to call it.
Yes, this was born out of things that I was hearing with people who you know, you and I, Tanya, are very well used to working from home, and I'm guessing a lot of people in the book group will be too. But of course, the world has seen people plunged into home working that weren't equipped for it, didn't necessarily want to do it, and also had their whole family at home as well. So people juggling childcare, homeschooling, sharing a desk or an office with a spouse or adult children, all very challenging, stress inducing. The suggestion was that you create some kind of routine. And I think for business owners, routine is important anyway, at any time. And by routine, I don't mean being so rigid that you can't do something off-piste, as it were. But it also comes at two levels. So, for example, I have a morning routine that sets me up for my day. Don't follow it every single day, because like this morning, for example, I was at my computer at a networking meeting at 7:15. Did I fitness first or do my gratitude journal? No, I didn't, because I was in the shower at 5:50. But on most days I will do, mine is very simple. I will write 5 things I'm grateful for in my journal. I do some form of exercise. That's a lockdown thing. I wasn't doing that before, because I walk my dog, and I'll very often listen to a podcast. So, you know, the routine can be as simple or complicated as possible, but my morning routine is aimed at setting me up for the day. And the post was prompted by the fact that I'd noticed that I had started first thing in the morning. I was looking at my phone at the news, and I think, I never do that normally. Why am I doing that? And
because that's going to put you not in the right frame of mind, is it? Not the way the news was at that point.
Exactly. So, but also I think that I find this when I'm working, blocking time and deciding, you know, like if I've got a project that I'm working on, for example, and I know that I've got 2 hours this afternoon, I will block out that time to work on it. So it's not so much a regular routine as managing your diary in order to be more productive, and also to feel better that you've achieved something with your day. Because work constantly on a reactive level, then it's very easy to get distracted from the things that you wanted to do, because you're so busy responding to calls and emails and everybody else's demand, that you don't get things done. So, you know, if somebody is averse to routine, and I know some people are, at least identify 2 or 3 things that you want to have done something towards in a day. As to whether you do them at 9 o'clock or 3 o'clock doesn't really matter, and whether you've finished the project or done 20 minutes towards it, again, doesn't entirely matter, but it's just, you know, helping you create a structure around your work.
And I think that's so important what you're saying about the towards, because I think a lot of people go, I don't want to put goals in my diary in case I feel really rubbish afterwards for not achieving them that day. So as you say, if it's just 20 minutes towards it, so just being realistic about what you think you can achieve.
Exactly. And I think that's the thing, and to focus on what you have achieved, because it would be so easy if that task was going to take you 3 hours and you only did 20 minutes. It'd be so easy to focus on the other 2 hours and 40 minutes that you didn't do, but you've done 20 minutes, and that's 20 that you haven't got to do again, kind of thing. So that's less, and that's part of your goal, work towards. Fantastic. So absolutely, and I agree with you know, setting yourself up for the day and just doing a few. You say it can be as simple as complex as you like, and again, that's something we do. Again, we've started in the fitness in the morning, and just knowing you just know what you've got ahead and what you need to do in the morning, I just think it helps you get up and going for the day. I didn't mention earlier, for anybody who is watching live, thank you for watching live. Just where we are in Zoom, we can't actually always see the comments and things. So if you have commented, thank you very much, and we will pick those up afterwards. Okay, so moving on from routine, I think there's some really, really helpful points in there. The next one was new skill. Yes, and this was one that was aimed at people that were particularly perhaps less busy during lockdown, which I have to say hasn't been me. But also it's nonetheless, I have learnt new skills, almost needs must, as it were. So, and again, just recognising that you've learnt some new skills is really important. But to use the time, if you possibly can, to develop yourself in some way. And it might not be that you're learning a new skill that helps you in your business directly. It might be that instead of watching box sets and things every evening, you decide you'll follow a French course or learn to do some Pilates. I mean, one thing I did do one morning was I did a Tai Chi session, which was all I wanted to try. And I thought, oh, I think I'll do that this morning instead. I woke up not really feeling like the fitness I'd been doing. I've been doing Joe Wicks most morning, and I thought,
oh yeah, that's what we've been.
Yeah, can't cope with the Joe Wicks this morning. I'll do Tai Chi. It's something I've been wanting to do. So yeah, learning a new skill, upskilling yourself in your business. There's lots of courses on special offer for free even. So
yes, there's lots.
That was, you know, taking the opportunity if you have got it. And I do appreciate that a lot of people think, actually, when have I got time in my day now to be tuning into a French lesson or whatever it is? And I know that actually for some people it's even harder right now, but for others they do have that capacity and time, maybe early evening or something, half an hour a day, learning to do something differently.
And there's just so much opportunity now, as you say, so much stuff. A lot of people have actually, because lockdown has forced so many people who've gone, I'd never do that online, I'd never deliver what I'm doing online, and they are doing it online. So there's, as you say, Tai Chi. I mean, you could actually try Tai Chi right into your living room, which is, as I say, it's absolutely, there's loads. And you were talking about the fitness and the skills, and I said, one thing I've learned how to do a burpee.
Yeah, there
you go. I'm not sure how that helped my business, but it's, you can, and there's just, I think there's so much opportunity. And I agree with you, it is difficult to, especially for those who, I know some people will be, as well as running a business, are working full time, also perhaps have children as well, and trying to find that time. But if you have got the time and you have got that space, then as you say, this is a brilliant time to pick up something new. And
also you can use your time, you know, double up on time. You could learn a new skill as a family.
There you go. Yeah, you could. We were looking into paddleboarding the other day. So there you go. Yeah, not that you can do that on Zoom. You're going to have to go down to the river, but I'm difficult to do that one on Zoom. But there's so much out there. And including my course as well. Just give that one a plug.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there is a lot out there that you can use to upskill, but either just generally or for your business. And there's the next one. Vision, always a good one. So important.
Yes, and I mean, this I would say to business owners at any time, not just because it's lockdown, but I think I included it because for so many people, their vision that they had back in early March, but for many has kind of faded. It's like, well, I can't work towards that anymore. But reminding yourself of why you wanted that vision, to adapt it. How can you adapt it? And just to give you an example, I listened to a webinar a couple of weeks ago from a young woman that I know who was due to be, you know, competing in this year's Olympics, and talking through about what they're having to do as Olympic athletes to keep their enthusiasm going, to keep their skill level going, and to hold on to that vision, which of course has now been postponed, hopefully till next year. So it won't happen. It's just that it's not going to happen as they thought. But it's still having that vision and adjusting the plan to get there. And it may be that the vision itself changes for business owners, and hey, you know, we all do that a lot of the time. But reminding yourself of why you wanted that vision is important, I think, too. And just, again, keep taking those small steps towards it. Okay, you might not be able to put it into action for some time, but there will be all sorts of things that you can do. Learn something else towards it, start making contact, get feelers for people that might be able to help you, all sorts of things. But keep focused on that and keeping it alive, really.
No, it's so much. And again, what's important is having that vision in the first place. So you've got that focus, you've got that anchor. And it just helps with decision making. You know, should I go down this path? Is it going to help you get to where you want to go? Does it fit with your values, which will feed into your vision as well? Yeah, no, absolutely a very, very important one, that one. And or switching another one, especially when there's no barriers between work or the work life and home life, because they're sort of all very blurred. It's how do you switch off?
Yes, and I'm hearing this, you know, from people in all sorts of situations. So clearly somebody who has 2 or 3 children to homeschool is expected to do an 8 or 9 hour day because they're still being paid a full salary, is desk or office space with a spouse. Actually switching off for them is really, really difficult.
That would be.
And of course, they're sort of catching up by working into their evenings over their weekends. And it was interesting the other day, I had a LinkedIn message on a Saturday morning from somebody who's buying a copy of the book, actually. And
brilliant.
So she messaged me because I see the messages on my phone up in my feed, and she wanted to buy a copy of the book. But I, on the whole, don't respond to messages at the weekend, as I said earlier. So by 9:30 on Sunday night, she sent me a reminder saying, "Oh, don't know if you saw my message." And I thought, yeah, I saw it, but it's weekend. I then responded to it. But I responded briefly there and then, because it just felt really rude not to, and then responded fully in the morning. And then I went 4 or 5 days without hearing from her. So clearly for her, you know, it's all become one.
It's all blurred. And it does. And it's I was pre-lockdown like you, very strict, no weekends, between Friday evening and Sunday evening, absolutely nothing. And again, between 3, I'd only actually answer and work during the week between 9 and 3, the school hours. And then later between 7:30 and I think between 8 and 10, I think it was. And that period in between, I wouldn't touch my phone, I wouldn't touch my email, that would all be put away, and just having those strict boundaries. But as you say, now it's all changed, there's no school hours. And so I'm like this lady, I'm actually now working on Saturday mornings because I have an opportunity to do it then, first thing in the morning, late at night, very little during the day. As you say, it's hard. It is hard to switch off. So what advice would you give?
Well, obviously, far be it from me to tell people how to manage their time, because I can't. I do think it's quite different for people who are being paid a full salary as opposed to people themselves and can to some extent make that choice. But I would just urge them to find some way of switching off, even if it is only for an hour or 2 every day. And don't take the phone or the iPad up to bed. Try and have a couple of hours before you go to bed of no screen time, if you possibly can. Don't make it the first thing you do in the morning before you go out of bed. Just try and you know, maybe, you know, if you possibly can, get that half an hour to yourself, whether it's to do a yoga class or whether it's to go out and walk, whatever it is, or even if it's just a 5-minute sitting quietly listening to your breathing, just to give yourself some time, because it is a real mental health thing that you know, just switching off. And also when we are switched off, that's often when the inspiration comes. Tied in with it, I think sometimes is learning to say no to people.
Of course, yes, absolutely.
Again, somebody who I know who's a lawyer said she had just finally managed to do it. She had a request from somebody on last thing Friday afternoon to do a piece of work, and his final comment was, "And by the way, I need it by 9 o'clock Monday morning." And she said for the first time ever, she actually said to him, "That's not going to be possible, because this is going to be the first weekend I've had off since lockdown began, and I am going to be taking it off. I won't be working now until Monday morning." And she said, to begin with, the back, and he didn't like it, but she said to him, you know, if you think you can find somebody else that is going to do it over the weekend, that's absolutely fine.
Good for her. But you need to manage your time, and if you don't, other people unfortunately will. If you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Unfortunately, not everybody, thankfully, but so you do need to.
And I think also, Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And going forward, when we are more out of lockdown and you're not having to do the homeschooling, etc., it's an important message for them as well, I think, because it's tempting when you work for yourself to work all hours of the day or be available all hours of the day.
Yeah, you shouldn't. No,
I
it's
would
not
say
good for you, and it's not good for your clients at the end of the day, because your quality of work is gonna go down because you're tired, you're burnt out, you're doing nobody any favors. So being able, finding a way of switching off is just so important. And one I've just thought of, especially as we're in lockdown, if you've got a garden, you keep hearing about just going out and standing with your bare feet on the grass apparently is really good. So just 5-10 minutes of that, I think, would be just by yourself would be a great way of doing that. Anyway, so we've moving on. The last one, and these are all fascinating, determination. I think that's a good one to finish on. Fantastic. So what do you have to say about determination and how that can help?
I think, again, it ties in with the one about vision, I suppose, but it not necessarily, because some people can be really good at having a vision but not have the determination, and vice versa, people have determination but not really sure for what. Be linked, obviously, with resilience and mindset and so on. And I think, again, this whole period of time has made it more challenging for people to keep that determination going. And it's kind of a two-sided thing, really. I think to be careful that your determination doesn't take you to the edge, as it were, and that you're so determined that you're going to do things that you do push yourself. So take time to step back and think, actually, where does this sit in the priorities for now? Being determined to achieve something doesn't mean it has to be achieved really, really quickly.
I think
go on.
So sorry. And I think that is where the why, as you say, it fits with your vision and your why. And you can be determined. But if your why is actually, I'm actually growing my business and I'm growing it alongside, alongside bringing up a child. For me, it's not, I'm not going to go hell for leather at the business at the moment. It's not part of what I'm doing, but I'm still determined to make the business succeed. But it's having that vision, having that determination. But as you say, it's not about pushing yourself if you're not really in a position to do that, and you've got other. Because if you haven't thought that through, you're going to always be feeling guilty, feeling bad. I'm determined. I've got to be determined in my business, but I want to be a great parent. And I think having both is so important.
Yeah. So it comes back to priorities, doesn't it? Right now, at this moment in time, or whether that's today as a whole, or whatever. So,
yes, yeah, absolutely. Sorry, it freezed very slightly there. But thank you very much, Rachel. That was really, really insightful.
Very, very welcome.
For anyone that's watching, let us know if you had a favourite. And so all of those were the 5 that Rachel picked for us to discuss today. They're in, Rachel's book. Rachel, how can you pre-order the book?
Just if somehow let me know, either comment in the book or private message me or email me, say you'd like to pre-order, and send you my bank details. I also will need your address, of course, to send it to you. And it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
They're £9.99 copy.
The £9 is something I need to get around to. It's on the list of things as well for me to do. But I'll be certainly pre-ordering one, because it was brilliant following them when you were posting on social media. And yes, I think a very, very inspiring idea to actually collect them into a book, and to raise money for charity as well. So good luck with that. And I hope it's so successful you have to do a reprint.
There's certainly some book ideas on the back of it. So
Fantastic, excellent. Well, thank you very much, Rachel. And again, yeah, if people want to, if you're interested in getting a copy of the book, just put a comment in the comment section under this post. Rachel and I will be looking at those, or give Rachel a direct message. Again, she's a group member, so you can find her in the group as well. And yes, so that's, thank you once again, Rachel. That's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me, and thank you, Tanya, for inviting me to come on to your chat.
You're very welcome. It's been an absolute pleasure.